All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another No Logic race. It's the A Link to the Past Randomizer No Logic Summer Tournament 2022. I'm Chex Human, and I'm joined by Malmo. Hello, Malmo.
Hello.
I'm pretty excited about this race. We've got MrByer versus Wulfy, two excellent runners, and they will be getting started at any moment.
I monka steered home just to commentate this race because I'm this excited about it. MrByer is one of my favorite runners to watch, and Wulfy has been on a tear learning this mode just in the last few months.
And both of them have been making contributions to glitched racing in recent days. It's been really neat to see all the activity since the tournament started.
Yeah, MrByer has kind of made a name for himself coming up with quadrant glitches, and Wulfy just in the last few days has been looking at overworld conveyors, different creative uses of them. So, you don't have to necessarily come up with new glitches to come up with new applications and evolve the meta.
So our runners are off, and they're both doing a Link's House start. And we'll see where they go from there. They'll probably start overworld glitching right away. And we'll see.
Expect to see some.
Starting with the Clipto Hobo.
I expect to see some swimming from both of them.
Wulfy gets the fake flip turn. Now MrByer's going for it too. Byer also saw a small key on the Hylia Island. And small keys are not very worth it. Basically, they're not very valuable. 300 rupees, on the other hand, rupees are valuable.
I don't expect to see anybody actually get that key. It's very rare that you're in the end game wishing you had a specific key. And even rarer that a key you left behind is that key and not some useless key that you could have skipped.
Right. MrByer now going for a slope swim, and he is going to take advantage of swimming in a new way discovered this year. And the glitch will take him through all collision. So Wulfy does go for the key, and it's just a key to Ganon's tower.
It's not the worst key. I like to have like one or two of those if I'm doing it in Ganon's tower state.
Right. And so what you're implying is when we're in Ganon's tower, we're not always in Ganon's tower state. So we can go into cave state dungeons, and in cave state, keys don't matter at all. So MrByer is struggling with this a little bit. That's okay. That just is the way this glitch is. It doesn't work every time. Wulfy learns MrByer's green pendant. In the meantime,
MrByer is going for a backup strat. This opposite side slope swim that you can get, it's a little easier, but on the upward facing slope, it's still
I love that he gets it right away.
It took him a couple tries, but now the reason we normally don't go for this early in the game is that you don't have bombs. You have to teleport into that cave. The method he was trying before would have taken him straight into the cave, and you just have to hope the crabs leave you alone, and they don't always do that.
Yeah, is he in position here? Looks like it. Yeah.
There we go.
That's an upward teleport.
Wulfy has gotten a lot done in that time, and he has found a big key of some sort in Sahasrara's closet. And
I believe it is Swamp Palace.
Green pendant info. Swamp Big Key is at least not going to hurt MrByer. You hardly ever open that chest, and when you do, what are the odds that you're even in Swamp Palace when you do it?
Exactly. Oh, Wulfy got a funny auto walk thing by accident. Different than the funny auto walk thing that he went for on purpose to get the island key. But what he's trying to do is scale the mountain with the DMA. And it should screen wrap Link, and he's off to the old man cave.
So we saw MrByer swimming on land earlier, and now he's walking on water because that's just how this game works.
True.
So he'll go after this key because this is the end of his route. The key's
Yeah.
not super important, but it's there, and he might as well get it. So one of them got a Hyrule Castle small, which is good when you don't have
nice.
when you don't have a glove. You can get the back of escape, but you can also swim there, and I think both of them know how to do that. So Hyrule Castle small, not the highest value key you can get.
Yeah, Wulfy is now going, okay, this can be a little tricky. There are a couple of different ways to get to Graveyard Ledge, but they're both either dangerous or finicky for various reasons. So Wulfy will just go for it again. It's pretty nice to get this check because it fills you up on bombs, and it's right by a save point.
So I expect to see MrByer go through the Lost Woods in the other direction, and come out the top, check Lumberjack, and then climb the mountain up there. So it's a different spot than Wulfy did a mountain climb on. It's not going to take him to the old man. He'll actually drop down the mountain to do that.
Interesting to see. So, in no logic, I never know what runners are gonna do. So, interesting to see Wulfy save and quit from the Graveyard Ledge cave. I don't usually see that because I usually see runners go to Houlihan Room.
That is unusual, and I don't know if he has knowledge of this red rupee bush crab that MrByer is farming.
Oh,
But
that's pretty nice.
the typical way to get here is to take a Houlihan off of Graveyard Ledge and get some money that way. But it does cost time, and if you're not expecting to have money problems, then it can be worthwhile to skip it. There's a key on Lumberjack we will definitely not be seeing. Very few things on Lumberjack are actually worth getting.
Yeah, this is true. And in the meantime, this is the double rods no logic setting. So there are 2 of each rod in the pool, and that ensures that the seed is beatable. Meanwhile, Wulfy finds a bottle. The bottle is the sunken item today.
Oh, yeah, that's enticing because it looks like you can use that bottle to dupe itself, but you would have to have not collected that bottle to do so.
Yeah.
So he just picks it up because you're not going to expect to find another bottle to dupe the first bottle with. And if you do, you don't really need 3 bottles most of the time. 2 is plenty for most glitches.
Yeah.
Was that a desert small key I saw?
Yeah, Wulfy got a desert small. One of my favorites.
I agree.
It's useful for opening that door.
I used to say that the Hero Small was the best key, but I think Desert Small is actually better in no logic because of how many glitches you can do in Desert Small key door, and also how many dungeons you can get to from there.
Yeah.
It also lets you skip a glitch, which, we like glitches, but they do take time. Most of the time, it's faster to do it without glitches. So not having to do the glitch in a tournament where you've probably done it every single race before, that gets old. You just want to do it normally sometimes.
Agree. Now Wulfy will be setting up Water Walk. It's always interesting to see variations. So if Wulfy gets to the Zora's Ledge item, will be interesting to see if he goes for the same clip.
You're going for a full set of bombs in Graveyard Ledge. You will probably take this to South Shore and use it for Mini Moldorm Cave the same way Wulfy did. When we were in Mini Moldorm Cave, did we see King's Tomb?
No, I don't believe so.
Yeah, I think we didn't. And the reason would be that Wulfy hasn't been to Ice Rod Cave yet. So he didn't want to like damage himself too much with bombs. But MrByer has already been there, so when he's here, he can end his route at King's Tomb by doing a bomb juke in Mini Mulworm Cave. If he wanted to walk out, he could, but if he does that, it will just be to buy the bomb upgrade, because he's already done everything on this path. And walking out is slow. You have to transition twice.
Wulfy unfortunately misses the Hyrule Castle small key, and I believe he was going for a variation that would have been faster, but it just didn't work out.
Yeah, it makes sense to go for the high risk faster strat when the item you're skipping isn't that important anyway.
Yeah.
Like, he probably lost less time failing that clip than MrByer did succeeding it. No, unless the Hyrule Castle small key actually benefits MrByer, Wulfy comes out ahead there.
So Fire now in Mini Mulworm Cave, Wulfy going to Hera. Pretty funny to see no Kakariko in the first 10 minutes. I'll check in another 10 minutes, see if we've done it yet.
Yeah, people like to put that off for some reason. And those reasons being, you do a lot of stuff around Kakariko that you want to have items for, especially in Desert Palace. Going in there with, for example, that bottle and Desert Small Key is going to benefit both runners. Because the bottle will let them unlock Thieves Town Attic. It's the fastest way to get to Thieves Town Attic from a location you're already in. And it will save them time if they're able to pull it off. So here's MrByer going for King's Tomb. He used his last bomb for this juke. Which is probably why he spent so much time select buffering it. But he got 300 rupees, and I think he's thinking about that bomb count and how he wants to have 15 bombs instead of 10 so he doesn't run out nearly as fast.
That's a very good point. Okay. Wulfy finds a map on the floating island and ignores it.
Wulfy is in a precarious situation in Spiral Cave. Like, he has a lot of cross keys experience, but this cave is just a big RNG fest, so no matter how skilled you are, sometimes you're just gonna die there. He doesn't have enough bombs to deal with Moldorms and still have enough for Paradox Cave, so he just had to die.
He gets back to the mountain, which kind of surprises me, but at the same time, there are other ways.
I'm surprised he's climbing the mountain at all. Like, where is he doing up here on this ladder? Like, what is this ladder even? I've never seen it before in my life. MrByer optimistically purchasing some arrows for a bow he doesn't own.
Yeah, you were right. MrByer went to the Pond of Happiness for both upgrades.
MrByer was so happy with his service there that he went back and bought another bomb upgrade. He has 20.
Alright. MrByer has broken the ice on Kakariko Village, so we'll see what's in there.
Alright, Wulfy just gets luckier this time on that Moldorm, and now he can actually survive tanking this one. Rewarded with Glove. I think that's worth it. Worth coming back for.
Definitely. Yeah, thinking back, I don't know why I would expect Wulfy to do anything different. If there are still 8 items left on East Death Mountain, just go for it. A sword is in Kakariko well for MrByer.
Ooh, don't say it. Don't say it.
A fire rod is this Kakariko well as well.
Alright, well, you know how this is double rods mode? Well, we can get as many rods as we want now, because that is very tree warpable. And there's a sword here too, which is the real reason you would tree warp that, is to refill this chest and get that sword twice or 3 times. But that's a risky thing to do, so MrByer might not do it, and I also don't know if he can, or if he knows how, or is willing to. There is definitely a subset of racers who know how to do it and aren't willing to do it in a tournament race, because it can crash your game.
Yeah. Tree warp is a very special glitch. In Randomizer... Oh, hey! Wulfy finds a different sword. It's in back of Escape.
Okay, tree warp's probably not happening. MrByer will get that. Because the glove is very accessible. This cat sword is very accessible to Wulfy, so they'll both be a master not too long from now. MrByer has some errands to run while he's in Desert Palace, though, so it might be a while before he actually picks that up.
₹300 on the race wedge. I'm wondering if Byer goes for that. Yeah, he's going for it. He's gonna turn Link and do a teleport.
Maybe he'll raise the bar on how many bomb upgrades can you buy in 1 seed. I've seen up to 30 bombs in a no logic tournament race, but I've been told that it goes up to 50 if you really wanted them. And usually the reason is people will buy the bomb upgrade and they'll use a bunch and they won't get refilled because they're not finding any bombs. And the easiest way to refill them is to just buy another upgrade. So it's not necessarily that they're using 30 in 1 sitting, it's just that they're using so many over the course of a seed that they have to keep refilling.
MrByer now has Ice Rod and Fire Rod. And Lamp is on Desert Torch.
MrByer has a choice to make with this potion in his pocket. He can use it to open Thieves Town, Attic, or he can use it to do Lambolas. And I don't know which one he's going to choose. Well, okay. Thieves Town Big Key actually changes things a little bit. Attic would still be efficient and it would be faster than going there normally, but with a Thieves Town Big Key and being able to do it from the front, that does devalue the play slightly.
A book is in Desert Palace. The book is an item that we cannot break in any mode. It ensures that the seed is beatable, essentially.
Sure, yeah. I mean, we've already seen both rods and 2 swords, so even before we found the book, we knew the seed was beatable, but in double rods mode, once you've seen the book, you can pretty much guarantee your seed is not going to be bricked by a very rare situation.
Exactly. That's not a factor that I think about while racing. It just is a tidbit.
Yeah, MrByer saves a little time by not having Master Sword checking this tablet. Wulfy has to go through the whole Bombo Sat animation when he does this.
Right.
When he's getting a little bit punished for having a sword.
And he already has more health, so he'll get another piece of heart for it. And MrByer going into Aegina. I wonder if the route ends here for MrByer, or if he continues.
That surprises me. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I think I would have at least taken that bottle to Thieves Town while I was there. He has plenty of money. He's got a green potion in it, and it saves time, even when you have the big key of thieves.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. MrByer is going for Aghanim's Tower or Escape. Basically, he's doing the North Moat clip to wrap Link and transition. He's going into Agatar.
MrByer beat me in a race by doing this once. Because I had the only bottle in the entire seed that was logging everything else.
Yeah, that was quite a sight to see.
And look at that! There's a bottle here. That's a bottle.
Really nice value.
That's a bottle that I don't get. So good on you, MrByer. Maybe Wulfy will get that because he'll be a lot smarter than me and actually get all the checks in the Hyrule Castle area. Or he might just not go at all because he has a Thieves Town Big Key once he's been through Desert. And one of the reasons people do go into the castle is to get a key to open doors while in a cave. And there's a few that will do that. Thieves Town Big Key is one of them, and Hyrule Castle Big Key is another. So having one of those Cave State Big Keys does devalue the castle play slightly. Wulfy's going to Thieves Town Attic. This is what I wanted to see MrByer do, because it saves so much time. But unfortunately, Wulfy's going to have to Death Warp out on rats, and that's not really that fun. He could backtrack to these spikes, but that's also very slow.
Yeah. So I would expect backtracking. Oh, is that a desert big key for MrByer?
That is a desert big key. I don't expect anybody to go to Hyrule Castle before Desert in most no-logic seeds, but that would have been a nice play if they had done so. So now Wulfy's going to have to backtrack through the spikes to take a proper Death Warp, or he could backtrack completely out of the dungeon and unlock doors on the way. Which would make more sense to do if he had picked up his Thieves Town Big Key, or hadn't picked up the Thieves Town Big Key, because it would have meant that he could at least unlock one of the doors. But I don't think it really matters, because he would still have to unlock doors in the Maiden Cell anyway, and he can't do that right now. So all he could do is just walk out the front and open chests on the way.
So what do you think has driven MrByer to check Hyrule Castle?
That's a very good question. Because I think he might be thinking about Go Mode. And maybe he's thinking about starting to do dungeons, and one of them he can get to pretty easily is Thieves Town using that bottle. Because that does give him a free access to that screen in the light world. You don't have to do fake flute or anything to get in there if you're coming from a cave in the light world. But he still needs to open chests because he still needs a sword, and he probably wants other things as well. 2 bottles isn't quite enough for actual Go Mode. It's just like, it's Go Mode if you pick up enough chests and assume you find something on the way. He might go all the way through to the back of Escape because he doesn't have a glove yet. Whereas Wulfy found the glove and went through the back of Escape the other way.
Yeah.
He's gonna have a very scary moment when he picks up that sword and wonders if he's in Go Mode or not.
Oh, a definite oh no go mode.
Then that bottle that he found in Castle Tower is dupable, so it's even more oh no.
Oh, and the heart piece was a heart refill for Wulfy. Alright, so MrByer will be picking up a second sword here. So I think the small key drove him to check this.
That makes sense. And Wulfy doesn't have it. Wulfy might never go here. But the only thing that was here of value was the Desert Big, which Wulfy can very easily bypass. But the Desert Big can be useful in other situations. For example, if you want to kill Viddy, you can go to back of Mire through Desert. And if you have the cane, you can do just the second half in Mire in Desert State. Poor MrByer trying really hard Death Warp, and he gets a heart drop from a rat that he gets knocked into.
Yeah, I would say keep using the bombs.
Yeah, this is why we bought 20 bombs. I am not convinced this is faster than just saving and quitting and walking back.
Right. All right. So now Wulfy also getting close to go mode, like technical go mode and actual go mode. But what is his play? He's got the flute out.
Oh, he will activate the flute if he thinks he's phasing down a YBA seed, because he wants to be able to get to the potion shop easily to buy potions for potion glitches, like the one he did
For
in the
sure.
desert to get to thieves. No Logic is like one of the only glitch modes where you'll see people go out of their way to activate a flute. Big Key of Hera from MrByer is a nice find. He doesn't have a good way to get up there before. And now he does. He doesn't have to spend a potion to open it from some other dungeon. He can just go there now. Very quick YBA for him, too. Now he's in Thieves Town and can pick up the maiden. He did not bomb the attic like Wulfy did, so he's not going to be able to efficiently route this. He has to go lose the maiden in the attic and then come back for her.
Yeah, it requires a second loop around. That's that. It's a long way. Yeah, Wulfy is draining magic, so he'll be going for the green YBA as well.
And if he succeeds, we'll get to see just how much more efficient his route through Thieves Town is because of the attic trip that he made when he was there.
Mm-hmm. And we know the YBA with the green potion is successful because it has the effect of a blue potion. And that can be pretty convenient. Wulfy also has the advantage of having gloves.
Right. Did he remember to, Yeah, he did. Good.
Flippers are in front of Thieves Town.
That's a relief. That's one of those items that makes you think I might actually be in go mode instead of fake go mode.
Yeah, for sure.
But we're so far from even knowing what our pendants and crystals are that it's definitely worth picking up items that you can pick up and going for density plays. But this kind of pseudo go mode that people get into, one thing that does do is it influences your routing to go towards dungeons as opposed to overworld.
So Wulfy used the LSD blind technique. This was not for swag. It was for keeping the door open in Cave State Thieves Town. So now he can continue his route.
He's in danger. I'm a little worried for him right now.
Yeah. So a death here would be very bad.
Yeah, this is an overworld death because he's still in the Uncle Cave. Like, if he dies here, he just saves and quits, basically. Which makes me surprised that he's not walking directly out of the dungeon, but he's going to these chests here. I would want to walk out of the dungeon in Death Warp.
Yeah, re-entering the dungeon would be safe.
Yeah. Assuming he survives this trip, the benefit he's getting out of this is Wulfy is done with Thieves Town. He's done all the checks except for the couple in the front and the Thieves Town big chest. MrByer still has to go to the attic and rescue the maiden, and oh no. So
yeah, I was afraid of that.
Yeah.
It's these darn overhangs.
Yeah,
overpasses.
It's the whole blindness theme, right? Like, they make you blind while you're in Blind's dungeon, which I think is pretty clever design that nobody really talks about.
Well, thank you for bringing it up.
Wulfy buying a blue potion informs us of his route choices. Blue potions are usually used in the overworld to get to the Dark World is
Yeah.
as a Super Bunny, so he can pull a tree and become Link. And that makes me think that he's going to go back to Thieves Town. But he's going to take the front door because he has already done the back. And this would be the fastest way to get there. And all he has to do is go back in and get the remaining chests and pick up the crystal or pendant that's on blind. It'll be interesting to see who like gets to that crystal first. They're actually both really close, and because of Wulfy's death, his efficiency has been more or less negated by the fact that he took a ton of damage on blind on the way out.
Yeah, so Wulfy is reloading a fake light, fake light world scene, and once he pulls on something, or just presses A against a pullable object, then he becomes Link.
Yeah, it may not be obvious that he's Link, but he's Link. He's not a bunny, I promise. He'll be a bunny when he walks out, though. When he walks out, he'll be a bunny because he hasn't actually taken a death warp to reset his world state, which is a thing that happens in vanilla and in glitch modes when you haven't defeated Aga 1.
Right, and this is in contrast to MrByer's world state, which I believe will be fake Dark World.
Alright.
If I'm not mistaken.
The winner is Wulfy because he already killed Blind. MrByer is at Blind and has to kill him. But also Wulfy had to spend some money and buy a blue potion, and yeah, that was unfortunate, but it does go to show how much time he saved doing the desert play.
Yeah, so Wulfy will be returning to Light World with this dungeon bunny revive, and it allows him to check this one Dark World screen that he's on, and no others. Oops.
I think MrByer will do desert now.
Right. So he has a desert big key. Will he move the wall? I guess so.
I think he will. He doesn't have a potion. Or maybe he does, but he probably has better things to do with it. I think he will move the desert wall and maybe get the big chest. If he wants to be super efficient, here's how you save time here. You bring a potion into the big chest room, and then you YBA in that room to get to the back of desert. And I think that saves more time than not moving the wall. But I don't know if he'll think of that or if he's equipped for it.
It sounds very expensive. But yeah, I know what you mean. There's a lot of backtracking involved here. So much shopping already in this seed. Wulfy now has another blue.
Yeah, you don't usually see more than 2 fake flutes in one seed. Unless you're in an end game situation where you have to do like Turtle Rock and you still don't have the Moon Pearl. But Wulfy has been looking at overworld conveyors to get around that, and he's capable of doing overworld conveyor once he has enough like Ancilla slot filling items, so he probably won't be doing that. I think that was a crystal on pod for Wulfy. But that was the only information he got that he didn't already have from that map check.
Yeah. No. Wulfy has to just reset to restore his lost blue potion.
Yeah, you'll often wonder, like, why are they saving and quitting out of the potion shop and not fluting? And the reason is because you want to be able to reset your potions if you fail.
All right. So MrByer takes Lammo down with Fire Rod. Nice one cycle. It's just a small key to skull dropped, and it's a crystal.
That's actually a really good key because Skull is available to MrByer right now. Very easy to get to. And having
Yeah.
one key when you go into Skull makes the routing so much better.
All right. Wulfy fluted to 3, so he's going to go up to Bumper Ledge, spy the item. He's going to pull a tree to become Link, and then it'll be some Dark World overworld, I suppose.
Yeah, surprised he starts up here and not Hype Cave, given that he's already done Village of Outcasts. It might be a little more efficient. If he's intending to open Mire on the way down and do Dig Game and Stumpy, this might be a little faster. It's hard to know. Or he just does this for Skull. That's surprising. You can just walk here. I wonder how comfortable is Wulfy with bunny clipping? Because I was definitely not comfortable with bunny clipping play due to the fact that it costs 160 rupees to buy that potion when you can normally just walk here.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. But yeah, and it's not just you know, comfort with the tech. It's also just kind of physically exhausting at times. If at first you don't succeed with one frame clips, it kind of becomes a little bit tiring.
Yeah, it makes your hand tense up a lot.
Right.
So Wulfy took a death in there, looked deliberate, and I think he wanted to ensure that he has Link stay when he exits the dungeon. But I'm not sure why he didn't just get this first and then die. That was surprising to me. Because now he has to wait for a Wall Master, and he could have done the Death Warp here. MrByer gets a crystal at Thieves Town, or Tower of Hera, so he actually has 3 crystals. Which is really good for no logic this early in.
Yeah, and I missed I missed the climb entirely. I didn't realize he had a big key to Hera. But I guess both runners do. All right, and the chocolate mail is on Ether Tablet.
Yeah, the chocolate mail not as sweet a deal as it looks. You do a lot of death warps when you don't have Mirror and Moon Pearl, and they have neither, so MrByer is already going to suffer from this just by having to death warp on full health with blue mail when he gets into Skullwoods. Which I imagine is where he's going, because that just seems like the place to be right now.
Right. So, faster than I could even take a look, MrByer pulled off the one frame clipping. DMD.
Oh,
MrByer's taking a lot of damage.
He was trying to set up his death warp early by taking damage on a high value enemy, but he got a little bit too carried away with it and took too much damage and died. So we'll have to go back. This time he'll probably just go straight into Skullwoods because he won't be on full HP.
Right.
Like that in theory would have saved time if the murder dactyl hadn't chased him down that aggressively. But they're murder dactyls, that's what they do.
This is true. Alright, we'll be in the back of Skull. We'll be going to Macula soon.
his bunny DMD, Death Mountain Descent, so fast. You can really see him, you know, you can individually buffer every frame, but he's not doing that. He's buffering 5 frames, which is exactly what you need. He's doing it all in one smooth motion. He's done this a lot, very clearly. He likes to do a lot of speedruns that have, like, no boots or no sword, so it's not surprising that he's gotten good at things like that.
Yeah. And Wulfy takes down Mothula thanks to Fire Rod and Half Magic, and I'm trying to remember where Half Magic was, but I don't recall.
I'm going to assume it was here in Skull Woods, because I don't think Wulfy has been that many places that MrByer hasn't. If Wulfy has had it for that much longer, it would have been Saw Osterl's Closet, because I think that's like the one place MrByer hasn't been that Wulfy has been. Or the East Death Mountain. That's the other big one that Wulfy's done. MrByer is still missing that sword that Wulfy found in Spiral Cave. I wonder when he'll go back there.
Oh yeah, well in Spiral Cave I believe that was a glove.
Oh, did I say sword? I think I may have said sword. It's a glove. Yeah, we'll see how useful that glove actually is. The one actual dungeon that you want it for is Ice Palace, but there are some overall locations that a glove helps for too, and when you have the Moon Pearl, it can give you easier Dark World access.
Yeah, and our runners have essentially switched positions, switched dungeons. Are approaching Skull Big Key, Wulfy doing the mold one. It's been pretty neat to see both runners do the same dungeons. We don't have a lot of divergence. A lot of the time in No Logic, divergence occurs when someone goes to pod and the other goes to not pod, or Thieves Town. So they've been clearing similar dungeons so far.
Yeah, they don't really have any items that are making pod appealing. Like, the pod itself is fine, but pod is never just pod. People like to go to Hookshot Cave from there too, using some glitches. And Hookshot Cave means Ganon's Tower, it means Turtle Rock, and none of those places are really that lucrative right now, so it's just not on their minds. Maybe Wulfy will do it now. Wulfy is going back up here, which he hasn't been to Dark Cross. I guess that's where he's going.
Yeah.
He hasn't been to any of the Front of Escape. So it's interesting to see him doing Dark Cross first, but I think that's just an opportunistic play. The fact that he's already here at Hera, this makes sense for him to do. Right.
This is something I meant to do yesterday after Hera, but forgot. I'm trying to teach myself.
Everybody says they're going to do Dark Cross from Hera, and then they don't do it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Hard to get anywhere from Dark Cross, so Wulfy saves and quits there. Now is it the Palace of Darkness play? Maybe. Wulfy showing us the ladder again. Byer takes down Moth.
Yeah, this is indeed a pod play. You can clip to pod from this cave. Diagonal walls are very nice. You can just go through them. And they take you places. Where does MrByer go next? Because he's done all the stuff that makes sense to do. East Death Mountain is still a huge density that he could do, but I know he also likes to do clever routing. And he might do pod into Dark East Death Mountain into Light East Death Mountain. And I think that's what he's going to
Oh,
do, because
yeah.
he's setting up Kiki Yeet, which is the alternative to what Wulfy did to get to this cave a little faster. Assuming you can do it.
Yeah, we call this Kiki skip. Approaching pod from Spectacle Rock Cave. And yeah, this makes sense. The route you said, going from pod to Dark Death Mountain to East Death Mountain, I like that a lot. I believe I learned it from Vizaka.
I learned it from you. Yeah. And MrByer came up with a quadrant glitch, I think, that he may have also learned from you. I'm not sure. Like, I think there's a lot of learning from each other.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff that I do, I am reminded that it exists, and notice a good route that I haven't, that I don't have on my typical checklist. So,
yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but like you came up with this quadrant glitch like years ago, right? And MrByer found it and said, "Hey, we can go to Hookshot Cave this way."
The quadrant glitches were discovered and kind of developed by Nasatar Savat, and
that's an old name. Wow.
Yeah, and so I don't remember. I believe MrByer started coming up with the bumper quadrant glitches, and so I took that opportunity to relearn turtle quadrant glitches because I didn't know how to apply them until MrByer started playing around with all the bumper goodness. The big key of Turtle Rock is in the compass chest of darkness, and that is pretty useful.
That is a lot of big keys. It's really only useful if you get the cane. But it can help with navigation to Agate 2 as well, if you don't get the cane. Big key of this dungeon, is that what I saw?
Yep.
It's gone now. Doesn't exist.
This is true. So our runners are again in Cave State. I don't know if we went through the list, but like you said, the Thievestown big key was a Cave State big key, so that works for big key lock for Cave State locks, big key doors and big chests. Thievestown big key, Hyrule Castle big key, Ganon's Tower big key, and the Darkness big key, which is no more. And I believe we've seen all of these keys already, which is kind of funny.
Oh yeah, we have. It's true. Which is why it's, interesting that we've put off pod for this long.
And all right, Wulfy is exiting and reloading pod, and this will bring pod back to life, back to normal. The dungeon ID is now pod, and we can go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, it's the pod state now, pod state pod, and Wulfy can go fight the boss and earn his prize.
Yeah, I was saying this reminds me of in Super Metroid when you turn on the wrecked ship and all the enemies come back. Except that happens after you fight the boss and not before. MrByer may also backtrack through here. He is, I believe, not a believer in the auto door bomb juke. It's hard to justify learning that when you've learned the quadrant glitch. All the people who know auto door bomb juke learned it first. Wulfy's doing the same thing Crithel does. It drives me crazy. Starting that pull so low so that you don't always make it through the door. And now he has to do this again.
I'm kind of confused because if you don't make it, you get hit. But did Wulfy get hit? Maybe he didn't get hit.
I think he
So
let
yeah.
go. Like I think he panicked.
Okay, yeah, okay.
But he
Okay, but
could have
if
salvaged it. Because I know when
yeah, you
Pickle
can
does it,
salvage
he'll
it
just
as
like
long
put
as
another bomb down and be okay.
yeah,
But
exactly.
it's no reason to start that low. You can actually walk into the door slightly and then start pulling. It's not a suction door. Yeah, now Wulfy does it. There we go.
So the goal is to juke the door using statue drag and directing the camera will take Wulfy to Helmstar King. It requires a spike clip to get out, but we just recently learned we can bomb ourselves to clip out of the spikes.
I love that trick. Because you're already often putting a bomb down in the hopes that you get a free hit on Helmosaur. MrByer's have a pretty comfy fight here. He has like 20 bombs to work with. Wulfy does not, so he had to walk some of them into Helmet to guarantee that they hit. But he's doing alright.
Oh yeah.
He just has some master spins to finish him off and takes down Helmosaur first. So, very close race. I mean, we have two runners that have done the same dungeons. MrByer has Desert on Wulfy, but that's not a very slow dungeon.
Yeah.
MrByer has done Hyrule Castle, and Wulfy has done East Death Mountain, and that's the difference between the two of them.
Yeah, pretty neat to see both runners fighting Helma at the same time.
Wulfy has also done Sahasrahla and has green pendant knowledge that MrByer doesn't have. MrByer will probably go there eventually, if nothing else, to get the knowledge. Because he's done so many crystals now and gotten lucky in all of them that he is starting to get to the point where any random dungeon he does is likely to be a pendant.
Yeah, it's most likely. With 5 dungeons, essentially, and remaining, 3 of them pendants. Oh, MrByer goes, yeah, of course. MrByer goes for turtle power. This is the quadrant glitch after that goes for the clink off the turtle shell.
I am surprised that Wulfy is this willing to turn in his mushroom, given that he definitely knows how to set variables with it that will help with overworld conveyor that he also definitely knows how to do because he was posting it on Discord like 2 hours ago.
Yeah, just today. Okay. Wulfy is draining the dam and saving and quitting. What does this mean?
This is an awful swamp clear. It's gonna be terrible, but there's a chest inside. You can get the crystal after doing left side swamp if he goes all the way there. He can't kill Argus from that direction, but he can kill Argus later if he gets another bottle. So it's progress. That's the important thing, and this will also tell him if he even needs to kill Argus, because he doesn't know that it's a crystal. I think from his perspective, this is use of the Hera big key that he found, and the Hera small key, and some way to make progression happen. Whereas MrByer is going for essentially overworld checks. This is going to be Hookshot Cave, 1 check, because MrByer doesn't hover, and Super Bunny Cave, and probably Ganon's Tower afterward.
Oh my gosh, Byer's going for the new MrByer quadrant glitch.
What is this?
He's already
I know
bugged.
what this is. This is a quadrant glitch in a conveyor belt room, which usually happens by accident. But I've never seen... When is this going to take him?
This is going to take him to Ice Armos.
Okay.
So, like you said before, MrByer can go to Hookshot Cave. But not only that, he can also go to Ice Armos. So, this is going to be a clear of Ice Armos and Hookshot Cave.
kind of
Such
looks
a
like
neat
he's...
route.
Is he doing Hookshot Cave? Can he? Well, that's the hammer.
The
Well, that's
hammer.
pretty good. It's really good for ice. He might just do ice. Because he can.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Wulfy is backtracking out of Swamp. Because he does want to actually get the prize of Swamp to see what it is. And to do that, you have to enter the dungeon from its front door. And speaking of that, he's going to get the Ether Medallion as well, which would be a little bit more exciting if the oh my god, if Meyer was a crystal. MrByer found Moon Pearl here, so that's really good. Very lucrative play for him.
For sure. Before we ever knew about the route to Hookshot Cave, it was pretty uncommon to see a play for it without the use of the Moon Pearl. Oh, okay. That's unfortunate. Yeah.
Yeah, if Wulfy had the hammer that MrByer had, he could progress through Swamp, but he can't, so I think he really just wanted to know if that was a pendant or a crystal. No, he doesn't have a good way. And MrByer doing what I predicted, which is to take advantage of fake Dark World to get to the Light World here and do these East Death Mountain checks that he hasn't done yet. So he'll get a glove, and that's going to make Ice Palace pretty free for him. We'll also get a map that is probably for Pod. I think if Wulfy got this map, that would be the one he had.
I don't think Wulfy got it.
Turtle Rock. Oh, this is new info.
Yeah. Yeah, that map. I really wanted to know what that map was. So, definitely good to have. Yeah, so as you said, MrByer might start thinking about Ice Palace since he has the glove and hammer at this point.
And Wulfy might stop at Desert with that Desert Big Key. It's a free dungeon now and free information for him.
Yeah.
And maybe he'll think about playing to back of Swamp. He doesn't have enough bottles to do that, so maybe not. He will if he goes to Aga Tower. But the way he has routed this makes me think he's not actually going to get that bottle in Aga Tower.
I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to the front of Aga Tower. Okay, he's saving and quitting.
Yeah, he killed the guard. He didn't set up Death Warp. The behavior didn't look like he was going to do it. If he does, he's doing it now from a save and quit. But I don't think he's going to. I think he's going to go somewhere else. Yeah, Desert. The free dungeon that he has. Which you can get to with the bomb clip in the overworld. For a little time save. I've never seen somebody use a bump there. That's interesting. But it does put you on the edge. But you still have to buffer up one to make that actually work.
So MrByer does find the half magic in Paradox Cave. It's time for a potion shop trip.
This is also a Sahasrahla play, so everyone's retraced each other's steps. Yeah. With the notable exception of Wulfy did not get the bottle out of Castle Tower that MrByer has. And of course, MrByer has Hammer and Pearl from his Hookshot Cave Ice Armor's play.
Right, Bombos was here too. Wow.
Yeah, he might use Bombos for Cold Stare just to make it easier.
So MrByer also learned that Eastern is a crystal. What does this mean? Will Byer?
Ooh, I don't think
What
Byer's in
will he
Go
do?
mode. I don't think he's in Go mode anymore. I think we really needed Eastern to be a pendant for that. Because the way to get... Well, okay, wait,
Yeah.
no. Do you need the cane
No.
to do the quadrant glitch? To get to Armos?
Uh,
You
yes.
do, right? It's a West
But
Samaria transition corruption.
yeah, it's not a good go mode. MrByer is going to continue opening chests.
I think we will
Um,
see a quadrant glitch, though, because he will do it, because he's MrByer and he loves doing this. He came up with this, and it saves like 40... Oh, he's not doing it! Alright, I'm sure there's a reason he's not doing it. It's probably not faster.
well, it takes place after the map chest, so it's still on the table.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no hookshot.
The only criticism I would have is that the cannonball chest can be done during the quadrant glitch, so he didn't have to retrace his steps for that one.
So maybe he's just going normally. Maybe he wants to go to Meyer and clear out the inside of that dungeon looking for more items.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. And you're right, he is doing the dungeon normally. He can't do the fire quadrant glitch route because he would need the big key of Eastern.
Okay.
He doesn't have that.
Yeah, I don't really know much about that. But I guess in the vanilla, it gets you the big key of Eastern first, and then you have it for the rest of it, which you wouldn't have in Key Sanity. He's setting up a death warp for some reason. I'm trying to think of why that would be. Maybe he just wants to get the big key chest with the juke instead of going normally. I think at this point, going normally might not be that much slower.
Yeah, and going through that trouble, I would have picked up the small key, I guess. I don't really like going for that small key anymore, but it's a possibility.
That small key is really slow.
It's too.
And by the time you're there, you just keep going. You're like, why am I even going backwards? I just keep going forward and get the chest. Why not?
Yeah.
When have you ever like used the small key?
But now MrByer has a problem if he's going to continue. So yeah, he's not going to continue.
Yeah, he's not going to continue. If he wanted to continue, he would have done that first and death warped on bombs, which is just a little bit obnoxious. I think Meyer is a low value play. He's not going to go for it. He might be going for the swamp play that Wulfy did. Oh, here's the moon pearl. You can just do stuff here. This makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Cave, open Meyer, maybe. He's got Turtle Rock as a pendant, which is convenient. Turtle Rock's one of the harder dungeons for him to do. So yeah, I'd expect to see Ice Palace soon as well. He has the flippers and can do a clip to get to Ice Palace from Hype Cave. So we'll see how much of the world he does before he goes there.
Yeah. There's the powder in Hype Cave and the hook shot. This is huge. So MrByer now has the possibility of doing hook pushes. It's a little tricky without Bow or Samaria. But
yeah, he's going to have a little
there.
trouble filling slots. He has the boomerang, which is helpful. Hook pushing for Eastern requires some pretty advanced tech if you're skipping the bow. If you're just skipping the big key, it's free. But if you're skipping the bow, you either get the cane and it's easy, or you don't have the cane and it's very hard. And I don't know if MrByer knows those very hard versions.
Yeah, I certainly don't myself. Alright, MrByer going for the flippers wrap. And he gets it. The end of that glitch is particularly dangerous. One wrong move can lead to an infinite scroll. It requires a straight down input, so no diagonals can be touched.
Oh, somebody told Buyer that if you place the bomb directly on that railing, it will actually just hit the switch and you don't have to pick it up. Because he had it there and he picked it up.
Oh, I missed. Okay.
Wulfy's going to a part of Ganon's tower that MrByer hasn't seen yet, so he might get some advantage out of this, depending on what he gets.
Yeah. It would have to be Kane, really, to be a big game changer, in my opinion. But
Yeah, I
it could
agree.
be, you know.
Bo would be nice, but Bo is like better
Yeah.
for MrByer to have than for Wulfy to have. Like, it doesn't do that much for Wulfy, except Eastern is a little better.
Mm-hmm.
And then just for Wulfy's own sake, he really does need another bottle if he wants to be anywhere near go mode, unless he finds the cane. So that's one thing that he's hoping to find here.
And as MrByer goes through Ice Palace, he's probably wondering what will be the last pendant. So it is pretty much a 50-50 between Swamp and Ice at this point.
Yeah, and we were deprived of knowing that because Wulfy wasn't able to get the prize of Swamp when he was in there. MrByer finding a map that's not very good. Also forgetting that, Icebreaker, you gotta do this tongue pulling. Wulfy pulls a nice tongue off of the torch. He's got the tempered sword now, which is it's a very dupable sword, but he doesn't need to at this point. Another useless map for Buyer.
All right, well, if he does a bomb shoot, this will take him past the hammer pegs, and he's actually in the spike skip room, going to DM.
Yeah, this series of bonks and bomb jumps is something that you have to contend with in both cross keys and glitch modes. It's a little harder here because you can't see your pits, so take him another try. People who can hover have it so easy here. They just hover across and bonk.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why he's moving towards the center, though. He doesn't really need to do that, but it works.
There's additionally a bomb jump that is consistent. It's just you would have to just memorize the placement. Imagining where the edge is. All right, well, if he's using bombos, this will...
he has the cane.
Kill. Oh, hey.
He got the cane
nice
here.
Spot.
Which I can assume was maybe the auto tracker caught it, and then our tracker at the time saw that, because you can't normally see these items. Maybe he menued.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, eagle eye for a tracker, showing us that Wulfy has a cane. It's going to continue to... This is going to take him
really
to Armos. He's going to get the hammer.
Yeah. And he also will not have to fight. Oh, this might be bad.
Oh, he's going to continue.
Okay.
All right. I respect it.
Yeah. So what Wulfy has here is a small key, and he'll need that to open the door to the mat chest. But the room transition will not take him to the mat chest. It'll take him to Bob's chest. Meanwhile, Buyer is fighting Gold Stair. He's got Master's Sword. He also has half magic to deal with it.
Yeah, it's nice thing to have when you're missing the tempered sword. So this race got a lot closer because of these cane find and sword find. What?
There's a pendant at Cold Stair.
Ooh.
So that means it is a crystal swamp.
Yeah, but I kind of expect to see Wulfy get that because he's about to get his hammer, and he had found the mitts, giving him easy access to Ice Palace. So he will have that as an enticing option. He will probably get a pendant. I guess there's no Armos fight. It's just walk into the room. Wow, it's like the back of Pod. That's so cool. I know he's not really here, but it's weird to see. Wait, he really is here. The heck?
Yeah. Transitions were broken. We can't really leave Ice Armos.
Where is Wulfy going from Desert? Is this going to be an Argus play? With the cane? I think it is. So yeah, Byer is in Swamp. And that's pretty free for him. He has everything he needs for it. But Eastern is still tough. And I don't know if he has an answer to it besides go to Ganon's Tower.
Interesting to see both runners going for Swamp at this point. All right, so Wulfy's doing a... Okay, he's got it. Argus, this is a slow rise into phase 2.
Nice Quake. After all this time, we still don't actually know what the Meyer Medallion is and don't really care at this point. So what does Wulfy have left? He has to do Eastern and Turtle Rock, and both of them are pretty good for him as soon as he gets... He just has to get to Turtle Rock, and that's probably going to be some kind of fake flute. But he might overroll Conveyor as well, so we'll see. But I'm not actually sure he's in the lead now.
Yeah, I had thought that Byer had an advantage, but this can be, you know, it can be kind of overcome with the power of the cane, like we saw. Easy access to some Argus. Now what is Wulfy doing? This is going to be an overworld conveyor?
Yeah, he's been looking at overall conveyors, which I'm not really sure where this one would go, because he's been looking at a lot of different ones that I've never seen before, so it's going to be a surprise. MrByer finds the bow, and I think that's go mode for him. So now he just has to go to Eastern Palace and do a hook push. Oh, yeah, he can do a hook push to get past the big key requirement, and then he can do the rest of it with the bow.
Yeah.
And after that, it's just go to
Go unlock.
somehow. So he has to do it at Aga Tower, probably through his, you know, probably his, like, bottle. We'll just take a bottle to Lava Dive. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know who's ahead, but I think MrByer might have a slight edge here.
Yeah. Wulfy is struggling a bit with the overall conveyor. Is he gonna do a downward or upward? Probably. I don't actually know.
I also don't really know why he's doing this. Where would this take you? He does need to hustle because MrByer is about to get his second to last crystal here.
I know one thing Wulfy's found recently is an overworld conveyor to Swamp Palace in Cave State, which was really neat to see. More recently, Wulfy's been looking at ways to get Link State using overworld conveyor. But we're not near the ledge item. I suppose Wulfy could be going for Stumpy somehow. I'm not quite sure I know the route.
Yeah, one thing I didn't consider though about this and makes me think that Byer has a pretty strong lead is Wulfy does not have as much pendant crystal info as MrByer did. He has not gotten that map of Turtle Rock, so he doesn't know that's a pendant. And he doesn't know which if Ice or Eastern is the pendant. So he has Oh, I don't think he actually knows about Swamp either, because he did not do that in Swamp Palace State. So he's got 4 dungeons and 2 pendants remaining. He doesn't know. They're 50-50s. Alright.
Okay.
Now we get to see where he's going.
Yeah, so it's an upward conveyor. And there we go. So when we're in conveyor state, we can push against a slope to get into a clipping state. So the clipping state lets us go through all collision. So transporting to Dark World, we still have overworld conveyor, and we can just go through a slope to get to the main Dark World. Now Wulfy will probably talk to Stumpy. That's my guess anyway. He gets it right away through a slope in the opposite direction, and that's pretty hard to do.
Wasn't there something nice in Hype Cave for MrByer?
Is that where Hookshot was?
Yes, that would be it, the hookshot. So MrByer or Wulfy can get hook pushing now, which probably not enough to catch up, but still really good.
That is good, yeah. This has been an excellent race so far. All right, MrByer setting up a stuck hook. This railing to the pot, as far as I can tell, that's the longest distance you have to work with in this room. Not ideal, but it works. All right, MrByer gets a stuck hook. Meanwhile, Wulfy becomes Link, which is difficult to tell, but it always works as long as you're Super Bunny.
Yeah, it's hard to move around in conveyor state, which is one of the downsides of it. Just navigating the world normally gets a little bit harder, but it looks like he's taking this into Swamp. So this hookshot might not be seen for a while.
Oh wow, okay, yeah. Yeah, this seems.
Huh. I almost think he forgot
that
He forgot that would take his bunny or his Link state away, perhaps. It's just really unfortunate because he's missing out on the hookshot now.
I kind of think he was expecting the front to be flooded. Maybe. That's my guess. If I were a cross keys player, I'd be used to having that flooded all the time. Permanently in the seed. But that's not how it goes in item rando, of course.
Oh, I see, yeah. Well, he can go back in with the flooded state, but it doesn't look like he set that up, so I'm not sure where he's going. Maybe he will fake flute. Now he's going back up Hera. Meanwhile, MrByer has his final crystal and just has to go to Aga 2. It should be pretty easy for him. With the bottle, he can get there from Turtle Rock. There's also some hook pushing methods to get in that I don't think that many people know about. But they do exist. So he can do that as well. He can hook push to the top of Ganon's Tower through Hookshot Cave and do Aghanim that way. There's a lot of options for him.
Yeah, now Wulfy's going for the dam. Reset. Time to get back on track. And yeah, I also don't know the hook pushing applications to get to Aga 2. Are you talking about a lava dive?
Yeah, you can go into Pokies too, and you can do a lava dive there. Krithel was looking at those, but they're a little bit finicky because most of those hook pushes will take you like very close to the pipe, and you can just get stuck in the pipe if you do it wrong.
Gotcha. So MrByer will also be dropping into the lava. And this lava just has a warp point toward Aghanim 2. The bottle just lets us get into the lava.
Yeah, basically anything that lets you get into the lava will take you here, because the lava just does. It just goes here. You also get this fun rainbow pattern when you're here from lava. I'm not sure why that happens, but it's fun to look at.
Yeah. I don't know why either. I know it has to do with the windows and the lightning. You know, whenever we are in a room that has lighting effects, they can be kind of glitched a little bit. But I'd be interested to know the technical details. He's going to do a check of the ledge for a sword or something. But, okay. Let's drop to Ganon.
Oh, right. He's on Master Sword. It's not going to be an easy fight. But he is quite far ahead, so he can fail this and still win.
Right, also has a potion refill, so he's safe. Wulfy and Swamp will be getting his bow here. So I'm starting to wonder if Wulfy wants 2 bottles. It could be. I'm not sure what go mode is for Wulfy at this point. This might be it. Oh my gosh. I can't believe Wulfy missed that. That's
that
unfortunate.
is so sad. That is so sad. And that would have been his info too, because all he needed was the Crystal of Swamp to know that he doesn't need to do Ice and TR. And he does have an answer to all of his dungeons, so he is in go mode, because he can do Eastern with just the door delete with the cane. And he's already done Argus, so all he has to do is succeed at Swamp, and he will be... So he's doing Eastern because it's just a good idea to do something else when you are having trouble with something, and Eastern is the one thing he knows is a crystal, so this makes a lot of sense. I mean, for all he knows, you know, it could just be Moon Pearl and Armos.
In a groove in phase 4. He's going for spins. 24 total spins in this phase will take him. We'll take down Ganon. Right, Wulfy checks the big key. He checks the big door basically, and that will target the door for this West Samaria, and performing this glitch will unlock that door. As a side effect, the enemies are desynced, so he can't progress to Armos until he reloads the dungeon.
Yeah, he doesn't really have a good way out of here, actually, so he'll have to save and quit as MrByer
And
finishes
Byer
up
takes down.
his Ganon fight.
GG to MrByer.
GG.
And Wulfy will be forfeiting this race, apparently. Not to spoil it, but there's a slight bit of lag. But our runners are here for an interview, so we'll get to chat with them in a minute. We are joined by Wulfy. GG's Wulfy on this race. How are you feeling?
Not great. So what ended up being the last crystal?
The last crystal. So the last crystal was Swamp, and what was that the and the Eastern as well? I don't know if you had that one.
Yeah, I've got the Eastern.
Okay, so it came down to ice and for you it came down to Turtle Rock and Swamp. Is that right?
Or ice.
Or ice, yeah. So ice was a pendant, and then Swamp and Turtle Rock. I mean, Swamp is a crystal, and T-Rock is a pendant.
Yeah. I had 2 opportunities to go get that Swamp Crystal and failed both YBAs. That kind of destroyed my run.
Yeah, that's always a hard one.
For sure.
And it's just so hard to consistently hit 2 buttons at the same time that when you're punished this much for it, it's hard to keep your head in. But you did the right thing in going to Easter and doing something else to clear your head. And you might find something there that helps too. We know there wasn't anything, but you almost got hookshot in Hype Cave. You got the cane in Ganon's Tower that MrByer missed out on. So there are definitely some differences that could have turned this in your favor, but it just didn't swing that way this time.
What was his solution to Eastern?
He had stuck pushing and bow. So he got that bow out of Swamp, and that was his go mode.
Yeah, we're also joined by MrByer. Congrats, MrByer, on the win.
Hello,
How are you feeling about this race?
Thank you very much. That was like, I hit like almost go mode really quickly, and I felt like if I just had like one extra thing, I could just like go full go mode. And I don't think this go mode is that hard. Luckily, all the difficult dungeons weren't required. But I was like 4 different items away from go mode, and I was like just hoping for one of them to show up, and the bow finally did. And that was really nice.
There was a distinct lack of bottles in this seed. Wulfy still only has 1.
Oh.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It was just like our race where it was an Agate Tower, and he just didn't go there.
Well, by the time I went to the potion shop to get 2 reds, I wasn't sure where I was going to use those. Maybe Meyer, but then I found out it was a pendant. And then I ended up using it at the very end. So I think I only used bottles like once.
It was so cool to see the quadrant glitch to Ice Armos and Hookshot Cave. That was pretty neat.
Yeah, thanks. I think it did end up saving quite a bit of time because I got the hammer, which sped up ice and swamp.
Yeah. And from Wulfy, we saw the door juke, the DM room, which had the cane, and the small key let Wulfy keep going to Ice Armos, which is always a neat route to see as well.
Yeah.
So he was equipped with the hammer.
I was kind of
Moon Pearl
hoping...
was in Hookshot Cave.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping for Cane go mode, because then I also would have been able to do Bolus Eastern. But...
That would have been really cool to see.
Or at least, I was hoping it for before Hookshot. After I got Hookshot, then it's not worth it over just the hook push, but... Before Hook showed up, I was hoping for a Cane.
Yeah, it's a neat one.
Yeah, there were multiple times there where I was thinking about doing the fake flute to 7 check hype cave, and Hookshot would have helped a lot, but I always just ended up doing something else.
Yeah, it always felt like you were just like one thing short of having the advantage, but
Seed
it was just a little bit out of reach.
Yeah, the seed really held out on giving me the kind of items that I would need to like feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Like earlier cane, even like earlier bow or hook shot, another bottle, all would have made things so much easier. Moon Pearl would have made things a lot easier, but the lack of all those things made me take a lot of really awkward routes.
And part of the information was a map on Floating Island. MrByer found that, and that was the Turtle Rock map. So no one went into Turtle Rock at all in this seed.
Except to go to Aga 2.
That's right. Thank you. I knew I would be corrected quickly.
No chests were opened in this dungeon.
Right.
Oh, I see Wulfy is tempered. Where was that?
Ganon's Tower Torch. Extremely dupable.
Wow.
Pains me to see that put off for so long.
Nah, Ganon's Tower doesn't exist in No Logic. That's my stance. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, I'm used to my opponents going in there sooner than me and like finding everything.
Same.
Well, that's it for game 1. Tomorrow we'll be seeing more of this, so stay tuned for that.
Not tomorrow, actually.
Oh, it's not tomorrow.
Tentatively Wednesday.
Yeah, it doesn't look like... What did you say?
We're thinking Wednesday, I think.
I'm thinking of something completely different.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking of Tam and Doomtap having 2 days in a row at the same time. So, we don't know when your game 2 is yet, but keep an eye on the schedule to see when that is, because if it's anything like this one, it'll be a treat to watch.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Well, to wrap up, thank you, Malmo, for joining me on commentary. And follow these runners, MrByer and Wulfy83. Thank you so much for racing it. And thank you, Other Tom, for tracking. So, with that, thanks for watching. See you next time.